All right. Okay. Time now is 11:10 a.m. in the morning on August 30th. Ooh, all right. Um yeah, okay. Um I slept last night around the same time as I did a couple days ago, last night. That is around 3:45. Again, I tried to sleep earlier, but I didn't. Um, but yeah, 3:45 ish, and slept. I don't know what's going on outside. I don't think Cindy's at home, but it's got to be something to do with Cindy. She makes all kinds of sounds, whether it be Beyonce's Renaissance or that jar of chewing gum, gumball, or whatever weird alarm sound, and then now this. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I woke up at 7:10 a.m. because Cindy turned off the aircon. And then I slept back, and then luckily she didn't turn it back off again. So I slept all the way until 10:30-ish when my phone suddenly had a warning. I thought I received a bunch of texts all at once, like a bunch of notifications, but no, it's just that my phone received a warning, like an elderly missing warning, which is very weird because I never received these warnings. I never received them. Last semester, people's phones would suddenly ring because they would receive these warnings, but I won't because Hong Kong, there's a Hong Kong phone, but now my phones do. So I guess the American government has successfully infiltrated my phone now. Rip. Um. So maybe the FBI is listening now. So yeah. I slept back a little bit. 10 a.m. 11 a.m. My alarm rang, and I'm gonna go out and see what the fuck that is. Yeah, my alarm rang, and here I am. So yeah, today, like yesterday, I'm gonna film an album review. Probably, I'm debating myself whether I should do that because I haven't listened to that album enough. But then tomorrow, I'm going to have the Insane Film 32 class, and by the time I get back home tomorrow, it's gonna be like 6 p.m. So I don't know if I would have the time to do movie roundup video and album review tomorrow. So I really don't know. But yeah. But yeah, essentially there's that. Um, I'm gonna have a bowl of Fruit Loops again for breakfast, and then I will eat mooncakes and dumplings for lunch, and then again I hope I meet someone interesting in my film class today. I really hope. Please, please, just I want to meet someone interesting. Please do that for me. Hell frickin' please. So, yeah, so my class begins at 2:15, I believe. So at around 1:30, I'm getting the hell out of here. So, yeah, I'm not gonna bring my laptop. I'm just gonna bring my notes. If people start taking their laptops out, then okay, fine. I'll bring a laptop next week, but I'll just bring notes. It's just first class, it's whatever. And I also don't have the book, so I don't know. Um, yeah, essentially there's that, and hopefully I get some IGs. Even if I don't meet anyone interesting, hopefully I gain some IGs. Again, I'm actually kind of proud that I gained 2 IGs yesterday. That's actually pretty nice. So last semester, I actually never counted how many IGs I picked up last semester. Um, but it's Thomas Pepper, this guy Red, this guy Julius. That's four, and then Christian, Ella, Eric, Benny. That's 8, which is pretty good, honestly. And I think I can do way more this time around, given that I have 3 in-person classes. But yeah, I picked up 8 IGs last semester. Yeah. I think I can do even more this time. Did I follow Betsy? I don't think I do. I don't know. Yeah. Pick up more IGs. Yes, that's my plan. And yeah, hopefully some form of East Asian. And not Chinese, I guess. Yeah, and that's it for today. Culture Detective. I'm gonna check Canvas and see if the people are, the roster is there. I'm gonna check if the course is opened or not. Hold on. Nope, the course is not opened. And also, I would like to mention that the Chinese or maybe Taiwanese girl that I said was in the roster for biology class. Turns out there are 2 sections of that biology class, and she's at the other section. There's another girl who I don't know if it's a girl or not because I don't see a profile picture, but it seems to be a girl's name who's also probably Chinese or Taiwanese, or could be even a Hong Konger for that matter because she has an English name. Also the other section. So that is amazing. That's fantastic, But yeah, course is not opened on Canvas. It's totally blind. I don't know if Aika is going to end up in my class either. Total blindness. I have no idea what sort of people will end up in my next 2 classes. Also, Alan, the Mexican guy, he's not in my anthropology class. I don't know what happened to him. All right, here we go. Extremely sunny, but will do. These pants are so tight. But I made sure I wore the maximum drip for both today and tomorrow. So I'll be wearing the exact same set of clothes and mask as well tomorrow. I have terrible taste in fashion. God damn it. More like I have terrible taste. More like I've... Not terrible, but I have a very limited selection of clothes. But yeah, let's go. Alright, almost got hit by a car, but I'm half an hour early, which is good. Oh boy. Here we go. Detective, let's go. Alright, just finished film history class. And it is a little bit more interesting than yesterday, but I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I'll talk about it when I get back to my apartment, but met a couple people, but no one all that interesting. Nobody all that interesting. I don't know, we'll see. All right, time now is 6:26 p.m. So film history. So once again, I arrived on time, actually a little bit earlier, about 15 minutes early. And, as per usual, I listened to music. By the way, the beeping alarm is still beeping. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's still beeping. It's been beeping all day long. Cindy needs to fucking fix that shit. I'll talk about Cindy a little bit later. Alright, so, I arrived at the campus, right? I arrived at the campus, and it's not the main campus, it's the CMD. I went to the 2nd floor, and I was like, I was already scouting. Because again, even though the class began, even as of now, the canvas is not open. The course for the canvas hasn't even been opened yet. So I have no idea what sort of people are enrolled in the class. I have zero clue. So I was already scouting for interesting people. I was looking around, trying to figure out what kind of people will be in my class. Um, okay, so multiple people are haggling on me right now, and I have multiple things happening at the same time, so I'll be fast. I'll be quick with it. Okay, Cindy's waiting on something. Okay, so you know what? Let's talk about Cindy first before I talk about film history class. So Cindy randomly in the middle of film class texted me asking me if I have a luggage. If I have a checked in luggage that I can give it to her. Now, I definitely fucking do. I have 3 luggages. Um and apparently Cindy doesn't have enough luggages even though she already had 2, but apparently they aren't big enough. Or something, I don't know. So Cindy's asking for my help. She said she's too tired. Well, too fucking tired. Let's see. We got the beeping alarm, and then we got this shit. She's always telling me to put dishes in the fucking dishwasher when she left this here for 4 days. 4 days. And oh, cleanliness, right. Yeah, let's talk about cleanliness. This place doesn't seem so clean to me right now, does it? I mean, look at this. It's a fucking mess. Look at the shoes. Her shoes are in the middle of the walkway. Even I don't do that. So, yeah, and obviously I and Cindy's relationship is not too good. I mean, we didn't argue. Oh, and the fucking beeps. That's great. And it's coming from her room as well. So I don't want to go in, but it's coming from her room. Yeah, Cindy wants my luggage. Honestly, I don't want to give it to her. I don't know what she'll do with it. Break it, have sex on it. I can't even imagine. But fine, I'll be a kind guy and I'll give him my latest one, my new luggage. Once I come back home, I'll spray it all over. She's gonna bring it to, I guess. I don't know where she's gonna bring it to. She's going to Europe, right? So she's going to Europe for 2 weeks. I don't fucking know, man. It may get stolen in Europe. I don't know. If she does, she'll have to pay me back. It's nearly 1,000 Hong Kong dollars. Okay. And yeah, that's all. I'm not gonna give her the oldest ones, even though they're both the cheapest ones, but they're more important to me. Okay. So yeah, that's all. All right, let's talk about what happened today then. Film two. So again, I arrived early. There's an East Asian looking girl. Who's standing around. Everybody's sitting and waiting, looking at their phones, but she's sort of standing against the ledge and looking around, and she's wearing gloves for some reason. And she's not using her phone. So okay, weirdo, outcast, cool. So I went and grabbed a seat and I just sat and I waited. And then she got impatient. So at one point, the professor, when I arrived on that floor, the second floor, the professor walked past me and entered the classroom. And then about 5 minutes later, she knocked onto the door and she got into the classroom first, basically, because she ran out of patience, I guess. And afterwards, people start going into the classroom. So we're still early by like 10 minutes. 10 minutes before the class officially starts, people started going in. I got in, and I'm happy I'm early because I get to choose where to sit. I chose a relatively nice seat, near the middle, not really, sort of in the center, nice. But I got really lucky because the guy sitting next to me, to my right, is a really chill dude. So, we all got in and the professor introduced himself, and then a few people was late. So it's a nice classroom, nice vertical classroom. This time is vertical, not rectangular, vertical. The window is down there, and the door is over here. And it's just rows of seats, sort of like a classroom, which is really nice. So yeah, and it's a pupitre. The pupitre. I don't know, man. I don't know what's the word, but it's like the desk and the chair is connected, and it's connected with like an iron bar on the right, so you can't get into the seat from the right side. You must get in from the left side. But yeah, I sat down and the professor introduced himself, and the professor is really nice, really charming, charismatic guy who's really funny. He swears a lot, which means he's probably very experienced in the film industry, which is a good indication. And then he showed us the syllabus. And again, I received 0 emails from him. Still, as of now, no emails from him. So we are actually looking at the syllabus for the first time for all of us. And holy shit, this is not a history course. This is not a film history course at all. I mean, at first it is. The first couple of weeks will be history. You know, the origins of cinema and the early films, the early silent films, the train film, the journey to the moon, friggin' the Lumiere brothers, and then we got the silent films, the cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and Italian neorealism, and then it went on, and then it started to not be about history at all. I mean, it kind of is, but it's actually about international cinema, and even the PowerPoint on at the cover says international cinema, which is kind of cool, but also I'm a non-American. I'm not American, so I should be, I shouldn't be learning this stuff, okay? Because I already have the incentive to explore international cinema. Um, but yeah, it's cool though because the film selections for the course, it's all revealed and they're all amazing. So we got Umberto D by Luca De Sica. I forgot the name of the director. Shit. But Umberto D, which I've heard great things about. And then more afterwards, we have Good Morning by Ozu Yasuhiro, which is insane, Ohio. And then there's Abbas Kiarostami film. There's The Hours of the Furnace, which is part of this third film wave. And then there's 1 week dedicated to Chinese slash Hong Kong slash Taiwan films. And for every single semester, it's going to change. It's either one of these three. So this semester, it's a Chinese film. And he picked Hero by Zhang Yimou. But if it's not, then it would be either Hong Kong or Taiwan. And that's pretty cool. And then he went over and we got an Indian week, and for that he picked RRR by S.S. Rajamouli, the new Telugu film. And when we saw that part, a few people got excited, like whoa, and I got excited too, even though I haven't seen it. But the guy next to me, he's excited. So the people who got excited and know about this stuff means that they know movies. They don't just like movies because ooh, Nolan, Tarantino, but actually like real shit. Um, yeah, yeah, so again, great film selection. We got Ozu, Kiarostami. It's gonna be a fire. And then Pong Juno's Mother, which I recently saw. That's exciting. And yeah. Um, yeah, but yeah, so looks exciting. And then afterwards we have the self introduction time. So I already looked around and I realized that there's only one girl who looks East Asian, and that's it. Turns out I was wrong. She isn't even East Asian. She's Indonesian. But she could very well be like Indonesian from a Japanese descent or Indonesian from a Chinese descent. I don't know, but yeah. But turns out she's Indonesian, so there's not a single East Asian by nationality. Anyways, there's a Mongolian dude. So what happened was we spent about 5 to 10 minutes where the professor just allowed us to look to anyone beside us and chat with them, and self introduce. That's just my name, what's my major, what's my favorite movie, and just chat. And so before I even initiated, the guy sitting next to me, a black dude, a big black dude, not big, but like not a skinny one, medium sized black dude, looked at me and he's like, "Hey, what's your name?" Yeah, no, he's like, "Oh, Enoch, right?" Because we did a roll call, so I already said my name. Everyone said their names, and that East Asian girl, her name is like Michelle, so obviously not East Asian. Um, but then I don't know what if it's like in Hong Kong or in Taiwan where people have English names. You don't know. But yeah, the guy sitting next to me, his name is Patrick. And he's like, "Oh, you're Enoch, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And we started talking, and he was actually really chill. And I was also being really social and nice, smiling a lot through the mask. And it was really nice. I talked about, like, we're both at our third year. I'm in my third year in this college. He's also in his third year. And I talked about, he asked me what's my favorite movie this year so far, and I said Everything Ever All at Once. And then And then I also mentioned Decision to Leave, and he's like, "Oh yeah, mine too." And then he said his favorite film is Arrival by Denis Villeneuve, and I want to talk about Hong Kong. I want to stand out and not be American. So I asked him, "Oh, so you're from LA? You're from around here?" And he's like, "Yeah, LA, born and raised." And he's like, "You?" I said, "Oh, Hong Kong." And he's like, "Whoa, okay." I want to get into Wong Kar Wai, and then I said, "Oh, Fallen Angels, I really recommend it." So after that, you know, the professor came back in and was like, "Okay, everyone, introduce yourself to the whole class, basically. But instead of introducing yourself, talk about the person whom you just got introduced to." So I talk about Patrick, and Patrick had to talk about me. So starting from the top right corner all the way, and yeah, I expected tons of Americans. I'd say only 1/5 of the class is not American, but that's already good enough. Of course, we're not going to be like Film 40, where it's like half the class are also not American. That's really funny, and even the professor himself is not American in Film 40. But in here, the professor is a white guy, bald white guy, um, and again, the East Asian girl turns out she's Indonesian and she's really shy. She's really quiet. And I also noticed that during the self introduction, like during the chatting period, I and Patrick, we constantly chatted, we constantly talked, and it was fire. But I looked over his shoulder to see, you know, what's going on. And the East Asian girl turns out she's Indonesian. The Indonesian girl, she just stopped talking at one point. So she's not the social type. But yeah, there's a Swedish girl, there's a Russian woman, of course. Every film class has to have one Swedish girl and one Russian person, I guess. I don't know. Um, and then there's a German guy. There's a Colombian girl. There's a Brazilian girl as well. And then there's a Mongolian guy who sounds absolutely American. Doesn't he doesn't even look Mongolian. I mean, he does, but I sat behind him, so he's really big. He's a really big dude. So you know, but yeah, I'm happy I actually got to chat because the guy sitting next to me seems to be the most active one, and he apparently have already seen the professor before. So the professor's like, "Oh, Patrick, good to see you back." All right. Anyways, afterwards, the professor talked about, American cinema and international cinema, and talked about how, you know what, for the first week, I'm going to show an American movie just so that you would understand that one movie does not represent a whole culture. So, yeah, we took another 5-minute break. So everyone left the classroom, and I was like, should I stay behind or should I go? Well, Patrick left, so I decided to go out, and Patrick and another really tall white guy and the Colombian girl were like standing around and talking outside of the classroom. So I decided to join. I just stood there like an idiot. But obviously, if you don't act awkward, you're not awkward, okay? So that tall white guy, so he sits at the very front. His name is Tyler, and he sits at the very front. And then before the class even started, he and another white guy started chatting very passionately about films. Oh, Eric Romer. Oh, freaking Tarkovsky. So the guy is a Tarkovsky fan, and he's just so for the most part, when we had to do our self introduction, we had to talk about our favorite movies. If we don't have one, it's fine. We don't have to talk about it. But most of the people, I'd say like 80 to 85% of all the people in that class today are basically, I'm not going to say shallow, but, pretty amateurish entry level movie taste. Okay. So Interstellar, Inception, some people are watching Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and Game of Thrones. I mean, they're good, but very entry level. There's one Baby Driver. There's a couple of girls who really like Midsommar. There's Halloween, John Carpenter Halloween. That's not a John Carpenter film, isn't it? I don't know. And then we have this tall white guy who's like, "Oh, my favorite film is Sacrifice by Tarkovsky," which Tarkovsky's films are known to be super slow and artsy and poetic and challenging and inaccessible. And Sacrifice is like the big boss. It's the most artistic and the most challenging out of all of them. And he's like, oh, Sacrifice by Tarkovsky. So he's like a film bro, but not just a haha IMDb Martin Scorsese Nolan type film bro. He's like art house, Criterion film bro. Not just any film bro, but the slow artsy type, which is also very common. So when I spoke with him during break, he's like, oh yeah, he first of all he doesn't have social media. He asked for my number. He's like, oh, you got any contacts? And I gave him my number, and I asked him if he has Instagram, and he's like, no. Crazy, right? He talked about how social media is distracting, it's overwhelming, and a lot of voices get diminished. And then he talks about how he just he just gives off the vibe that he likes really artsy slow films, because I talk about how I'm from Hong Kong, and he's like, oh Wong Kar-wai, right? In the Mood for Love is my favorite. And then he asked me what other movies I like, and I said, oh, I like Ikkyu by Kurosawa. And he's like, oh yeah, Kurosawa. I'm not huge on his samurai movies, so again, artsy type guy. He said he likes Ron, but he doesn't like Kurosawa's other samurai films. Again, artsy type guy, because Kurosawa samurai films are honestly kind of conventional and accessible. And then with all that social media talk, he just gives off that vibe. All right, went back to a classroom, and the professor decided to screen us Hell or High Water for the American film. So we watched the whole thing front to back without subtitles. So it's a movie that I've seen before, and I like it, but it's not like great or anything. It didn't last a super strong impression on me, but I do think it's pretty good. But it's set in Texas, so everybody's got a southern accent, and I'd say 20 to 30% of the time I don't know what the characters are saying, honestly, but I still understand for the most part, which is already kind of impressive for me. But yeah, watch the movie, and then we took another 5-minute break, and I heard the tall white guy Tyler chat with another guy, and the other guy was like, oh, do you like the film? And Tyler's like, nah, I got some qualms with it. I mean, yeah, it critiques capitalism and the dangers of the capital, but it just doesn't express these themes well enough. So he's really that guy. He's the artsy film essayist. He's the film elite. Tarkovsky, Antonioni, just Fellini, just pure type cinema. Ozu, So he's the film essayist. He's the film scholar. And my style is very much different, but that actually made me appreciate my own taste more. And again, I hate sounding cocky, but again, there's the IMDb film bro, amateurish entry level stuff, and then we have the art house crowd, which is smaller but still popular. We have the A24 crowd, which is very popular, and then we have the artsy. I love artsy slow movies, and there's me. Of course, there are certain artsy slow movies that I like. There are Marvel movies that I like. There are film bro IMDb core movies that I like. But most importantly, I just like really edgy, random ass shit. And not from America, basically. Like my top 20 films, I guess most of the films in my top 20, a majority of the films are not American. But of course, America still takes a majority in my list overall. But I'd say in my top 20, most are East Asian. Yeah, it just happens to be like that. But yeah, it just makes me think, man, my taste is a little eclectic. And then he asked me what sort of other stuff I like, aside from movies, and I said, oh, music. And then he's like, oh, what's your last 5 artists? And I didn't know how to answer. So I legitimately listened to JPEG Mafia before I arrived at the campus, so I said JPEG Mafia. And then I said, oh, YOASOBI, there's a J-pop duo, and Shirley Kwan, because I've been listening to Cantonese music, Black Midi, and then before I could finish, we had to go back to the classroom. But, again, very eclectic. There's an experimental industrial rapper from the USA, an experimental prog punk jazz rock band from the UK, canto pop singer who's popular in the 80s, and then there's the friggin' popular mainstream J-pop duo that's popular now. Very eclectic taste. But again, not trying to be pretentious or anything, because um, he watched all six Tarkovsky films. I've only watched one, and I was so bored in that one. So obviously, I'm not an elitist. I'm not a bouge. I'm not a film enjoyer. Okay, like there are movies I watch and I wish I love. I just ended up thinking like, what the heck. But yeah, there's that. And then yeah, afterwards, final remarks from the professor. And the professor even, like, at some point, after he talked about the syllabus, I guess, he talked about film club. Oh, by the way, he is one of the supervisors for film club this year. And, it's a lot of fun, and he's telling people to join. Lo and behold, yours truly is the vice chairperson of the scriptwriting club. So I realize, again, how much I'm involved in things. I realize how deep into the film world I somehow have gone into, which is really nice. So okay, finally, we all left. And then we left a little earlier than when the class is supposed to end, and it was nice. And then right before I left, Patrick, the black guy, he pulled out his phone, and I also pulled out my phone because I was gonna ask him Instagram. So I asked first, and then he's like, "Man, you read my mind." So we exchanged Instagram. So there we go. I picked up one Instagram, and then that's it. And then we left. And I really want to speak to that Indonesian girl, kinda, because I'm curious on what's up with her. She's shy. She's impatient. She's not social at all, and she feels like one of those people who's just going to drop after week one. So the opportunity presents itself. While I was walking away, she's just standing there alone, and I don't want to just walk past her, so this is my chance. So I walked up to her and said, "Oh, are you from Indonesia?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, my grandma's also from Indonesia." And then she moved to China, and she's like, "Okay." And then I'm like, "Nice to meet you." It was kind of awkward. It was really awkward, and I bet it's even more awkward for her because she doesn't know what to say. But she's really small. But when I actually walked up to her close up front, I realized maybe she's a lot older than I thought she is. Because she's really small, but people exist. People who are genetically shorter exist. And she seems to be one of those people. I'm not saying she's a dwarf. I'm just saying that she's short, like genetically. But she's probably a lot older than I expected. I don't know, man. She didn't take off her mask. I wouldn't know, so. But yeah, that's basically all for today. So I walk back home, listen to music, and then that's it. And then Christians just texted me over Discord, which is nice. And Cindy wants my luggage. I don't want to give it to her, but you know what? I'm gonna be a nice guy. I'm gonna give it to her. And also on top of that, before I arrived at the campus today, Thomas texted me. So I actually texted Thomas asking him if he had received any emails from the college regarding Film 32. And of course not, because our professor is too lazy to send an email. And then he asked me about my Film 2 course, and he asked me who the professor is, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I just saw him. He's nice." In a Zoom meeting. And I'm like, "What Zoom meeting?" And he's like, "Oh, there's a film club leadership type Zoom meeting." So I wasn't made aware of that at all, completely, and I feel stupid as hell now, basically. Not really stupid as hell. I know I'm the vice chairperson. Had I been a bit more ambitious and become the chairperson, then I would know, but I didn't. But then I don't blame myself because Thomas wants to be chairperson, right? So if I also want to be chairperson, then there would be a clash. So I let him, and it's all right. It's all good. But yeah, I'm left out of the circle just a little bit, just a tiny bit. But yeah, basically there's that. And not much. Oh, and the gay Chinese boy whom I met yesterday, which felt like 2 weeks ago. Um, he texted me over Instagram and was like, "Hi, can I, if you have time, can I ask you about the biology assignment?" With a kissing emoji. What the fuck? He's probably testing me. He's probably testing me to see if I'm actually really straight. And that's actually pretty interesting. And I want to be in on the ride because I know something similar happened to Cedric in Scotland. It's like some gay person confessed to him, and then Cedric had to turn him down because Cedric's straight and Cedric already has a girlfriend, Sharon. So yeah, it would be extremely funny if the first person who ever confessed to me in my life, this fucking loser idiot, I mean, look at this ugly dude, is a gay person. But yeah, yeah, that's all. I'm gonna eat some mooncakes because I'm hungry as hell actually. And man, no East Asian today. No, not a single freaking East Asian. Again, East Asian by nationality. Maybe the Indonesian girl is also East Asian ethnically, but she seems to be the type of girl who would drop after week 1. And if she does, then well, bye bye. So tomorrow is it? Aika, please, you can do it, Aika. Pick Wednesday. You can do it. Please. Please, please, please. Or anyone else, really. But yeah, today's class actually has a lot of black people. Like a good, like 5, 6 black people. Out of maybe 30. Yeah. Interesting. But, yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna unpack this. I already pulled the tape and opened this, but mooncake time, baby. Woo! Here we go. This is not Maxim, by the way, so this is not the usual package that I'm familiar with. This is Wenhua. So yeah, 4 mooncakes, which is definitely more than enough for me. Maybe I'll share it, but I'll eat like maybe a quarter right now, and then I'll save some for tomorrow, I guess. Yeah, a quarter is fine. Maybe even more than that. Alright, let's eat this mooncake. Mooncake in America. Just so poorly cut. Oh my god. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Aside from the fact that my tongue hurts as hell right now, I'm happy I got to eat this. I really am. Not a huge fan of the egg yolk, but it's part of the experience. Alright, time now is 11:50 p.m. I don't know why, but my voice is really raspy. Actually, right now it isn't, but a couple hours ago it was very raspy. Also, my tongue is just hurting even more. I need to count how many days has it been since my tongue got hurt. I think it was around like 4 days before school started, so I think around and the Wi-Fi just died again. Great. August 25th. So right now it's about day 6, so it's going to reach a peak at day 11. It's always day 11. Every time I have canker sores, it's always day 11. That's the most painful, that's the peak, and then afterwards it's going to get healed. But yeah, I would say today is a bit better than yesterday in that today is a little more interesting. I feel a little awkward and embarrassed approaching that Indonesian girl because I feel like she's really shy and socially awkward, and I shouldn't have approached her at all. And I'm saying all this, but I've never even approached Aika, so yeah, that's kind of weird. Also, there's a girl in our class who's super short who looks like a child. She looks like she's 12 years old, for God's sake. Um, Again, I don't know what's going on at all. Um, but yeah, I don't know, but at least I made a friend ish, not really friend, but at least I met someone who I can stick with and chat with in this film 2 class, so that's really good. And it feels less depressing, or not depressing, but less bland than, I guess, yesterday's biology 3 class. Way less bland, that's great. I'm gonna call my mom later because I haven't called her in a long time, and I can't call her yesterday because of this crazy concert thing that she's throwing with her company. No news from the Chinese boss lady. I guess she ignored my texts. I'm gonna text her again tomorrow noon maybe, because I think one of the reasons why she didn't reply is because I texted very late at night. So I guess she just, I don't know. I guess if it's in the afternoon or in the morning, maybe she'll read it. Actually, you know. Um, and yeah, that's all. So I definitely look forward to tomorrow, which is the most important class out of all 4 of the classes I'm taking right now. And again, the course is not open in the Canvas. So if it's open in the Canvas website, I would know the course syllabus, the module, the people, but I have no idea who's in it right now. It's totally blind. You remember how I said, just a week ago, a little more than a week ago, um, Aika and Thomas will be filming their short films on a Friday, and I can use that opportunity to meet Aika and say things to her. But then I said, I guess before I meet her, I would already have figured out if Aika's gonna end up in my class or not, because shit, because of the roster, because the course is open on Canvas. Well, oh boy, have things changed, because not only did neither Thomas nor Aika film anything, but also I have no idea who's in my class even now, one day before the freaking class. So yeah, less than 12 hours. Actually, 9 hours later. Yeah, 9 hours later. I will find out 9 hours later. Yeah, so tonight I'm going to try to sleep way earlier because tomorrow the class starts at 9 a.m., which means that I will not be able to film any YouTube videos. B, I'm gonna have to wake up extremely early, so 9 a.m. So let's say it takes about 35 minutes. It takes about 20 minutes to get to campus, but I want to get there earlier, and I always need to account for the fact that sometimes a bus straight up disappears. Let's say it takes about 35 to 40 minutes to get there, so 9, that's 8:20. If I wake up and immediately eat food and immediately go out, then 8 a.m. 8 a.m. tops. Cannot be later than that. So if I sleep now, I'll have 8 hours, but obviously I can't fall asleep now. I'll try to sleep at 3 a.m. so that I get 5 hours. But yeah, this also means that I will not watch Tokyo Story. So tonight I originally planned to watch Tokyo Story. Actually not. I think I'll watch tomorrow. Yeah, probably. Yeah, so I will, and also tomorrow it's 9 to 4:30, and I don't know how many breaks will we be given, and I don't know if there's going to be a lunch break or not, because the thing is, on the college schedule website, on the class schedule website, it's tomorrow's class is actually 2 separate classes, technically. Film 32 goes from 4 to 12 at noon. No, 9 a.m. to 12 at noon. And then the Film 32L, which means Film 32 Lab, it goes from 12:15 to 4:30. This means officially there's a 15-minute break. But of course, this is the Italian professor that I've taken last semester, and we all know that he's very loose about things like this. He gives breaks out. He doesn't really care. So maybe we'll have a huge lunch break. And I and Christian spoke a little bit over Discord, and Christian's like, yeah, man, I hope there's a huge lunch break because it's a real long course. And I'm like, yeah, 7.5 hour long class. I mean, I've never taken a class this long before. Of course, I've taken I guess the craziest I've been before college, it's a 3 hour biology or 3 hour chemistry in secondary school. And then, of course, there's the Film 31, which is already quite long, like 5 hours long ish, 4 or 5 hours. I forgot. Film 40. Film 40 is extremely long. Okay, Film 31. It's a few months ago, but let's see if I remember it. So, Film 31 is 6 to 10, so that's 4 hours. And Film 40 is so 6 to 10 p.m. Film 40 is, when I took it, 8 a.m. to 12:05, so also 4 hours. This is 7.5 fucking hours long. Wow. But that's also a good thing because now I get to like literally experience more with people so that it actually feels like school. To be stuck with the same group of people for 7.5 hours every week, that is as much as I could get ever since I began college. And also, another good thing is I'll be seeing a lot of the same few people. So of course I know for a fact that Pepper's gonna show up. I know Christian's gonna show up. I'm gonna see them again. So I already have a sense of community because I've already been to school with them. But I know for a fact that a lot of people that I've seen before will also show up. I don't know exactly who, but probably someone from Film 40, a bunch of people from Film 31 would naturally show up in my 32, or maybe the Friday 32, but still a chunk of them have got to show up in my class. And yeah, I just look forward to seeing them. It's just awesome. If I see them, it would feel legitimately like school again for a moment. But also, I'm looking forward to Film 32 in general, just doing things, filming practical stuff. Again, I really wish Aika would show up. If Aika doesn't show up, though, then I would have to hope that there are other East Asians in my class. Because I feel like it's better, especially if it's a Japanese person. I feel like it would be one step closer to Aika or one step closer to EAS. You know, if it's another East Asian, then I guess that would also mean EAS. But I want to speak to Aika because I've been like talking about her so much that it has gotten me curious. You know, you just get hyped up about meeting a person when you don't even know if that person is all that cool or not because you've been talking about that person so much. It's like empty hype, you know, invisible hype. It's hype for the sake of hype. There really is nothing to look forward to. But yeah, I do really hope Aika ends up my class. And Pepper said one of her friends will show up, so I hope that happens. From internship, speaking of internship, hell yeah. So okay, 5 levels. I think I got all 5 going already. So obviously level 6 I'm already doing a pretty good job. In my yesterday biology class and today's class, I think I did a pretty good job. Level 7 internship, not started, but I will if I spot any. Level 8, I got the UCLA dude from the church who can probably pull some connections for me. Level 9 driver's license, not sure. Level 10 gym and fitness in general. I will be doing some sit-ups and push-ups and whatnot on my bed or something like that. But yeah, all in all, I'm just gonna go to sleep ASAP later, hopefully at 3 a.m. or earlier, and excited for tomorrow. And I actually thought to myself, like, yeah, when Thomas told me today that he got into Zoom meeting with the film club and the film teachers, you know, I was a little jealous. I was like, you know, man, if only I'm also like a vice president of film club. Because again, Thomas got promoted to vice president of film club just because he already is president of script writing club. So might as well be vice pres. I wish it was me, but then if it was me, then I would have trouble getting to film 2 because then the Zoom meeting would clash with film 2, even if it's a one-time thing. But also, I'm glad I took film 2 in person because A, I got to meet people, but also B, I get to be excited all over again. So if imagine an alternate reality where I took film to online, then it would be Monday and then a blank day where nothing happens and then Wednesday. So if that happens, then it would be Monday, underwhelming, kind of weird, and then I would have to literally put myself at a cliffhanger for 2 days straight, or less than 2 days, until Wednesday. So there's that. But yeah, this is actually the first time in my entire college life when I look forward to actually meeting people in class, because I would almost be able to guess who's going to end up in my class. This is the first time in my college life, so that's kind of interesting. And yeah, I'm going to prepare some lunch just in case. Again, I don't know how much of a lunch break we're going to get, or if there is going to be a lunch break or not. I'm going to WhatsApp Pepper right now, actually, and ask her her opinion. But I'm going to bring a couple pieces of mooncakes, and mooncakes are fucking killer. 1/8 of a mooncake is 130 calories. I ate 3 pieces today, like 3 out of 8. There are 4 mooncakes. There are 32 servings. I ate 3 out of 32 servings. I'm gonna just bring like half a mooncake tomorrow, and honestly, half a mooncake is enough to fill me up for lunch. Honestly, it's just so thick and oily. But then if we do go out for lunch, then I guess I'll buy something light. Ooh, it would be even fucking oh my god, I would fucking piss my pants if we do an organized lunch where a group of students leave the campus and eat at a restaurant together. That would be so fucking nostalgic. I would want to kill myself. That's literally bringing me back to the Form 5, Form 6 days. Me and Nick and Bean Gang going to the to the noodle shop and eating lunch together and paying together. That would bring me back so fucking hard. I would love for that to happen. And if I and Christian and maybe Pepper band together and Pepper's friend, and if Aika's there, maybe we can join Aika's team, and then like us 5 or 6 or maybe 7 people, we could all storm Carl's Jr. or McDonald's and eat there, and it's going to be a cyclic thing, which means that like, you know, once a week we go to Carl's Jr., once a week we go to McDonald's or Subway or something like that. Like, it'll be so damn cool. Please make that happen. Please, for the love of God, I would love that feeling to come back. Please make that feeling come back, please. I realize that my secondary school life is irreplaceable. Everything that happened in secondary school is just the utmost beauty. Nothing compares, right? And that's something an American would understand, because American high school systems don't work the same way as mine. In Hong Kong, we are all in a community because we're literally stuck with each other for 12 hours straight. We don't need to change classrooms. We are stuck in one classroom for 12 hours a day. And even if we go out for lunch, we go out in groups, we go out in communities. You have that very strong sense of community. You have that extremely strong sense of community. You know, but of course in college it doesn't work like that anymore. But I would love that feeling to come back. Please make it come back. So there we go. That's lunch. I sound really excited for tomorrow, but I need to, again, have an expectation that maybe Aika will not show up. If she doesn't show up, it's fine. There's Pepper, there's Christian. It's cool. But be prepared that maybe it's going to be boring. In fact, be prepared that Pepper's not going to show up. Maybe, you know, you never know. Maybe Pepper's sick tomorrow, randomly. I don't know. Maybe Pepper got pissed at me. Maybe Pepper switched to Friday. Maybe a couple days, maybe yesterday when Pepper and Thomas met at script writing class, maybe they discussed and Pepper's like, oh, you know what? I'll switch to Friday. And Pepper actually did it, leaving me all alone with Christian, which is still fine, but you know, maybe that's going to happen. There's no telling what's going to happen. There's no predicting what's going to happen. So I need to be mentally prepared for the worst case scenario, but I'm feeling feelings. Okay, I'm envisioning things that I haven't felt in over 2 years. Lost feelings, man. So yeah, I know I've talked a lot today, but yeah, that's Culture Detective signing off. Hopefully tomorrow is an insanely amazing day, and hopefully I have a hell of an amazing semester, and hopefully I meet tons of people. Because again, the gay Chinese boy, you know what? I said I didn't meet anyone interesting. Maybe he's pretty interesting. Maybe. I checked his Instagram posts, and even though he doesn't use Instagram all that much because he uses Weibo or some shit like that, but maybe he's a little edgier than I thought. I don't know. And then again, film history class. And then again, like, I've only met these people for one class. I don't really know them all that well. I can't really judge from one class all that much. So I don't know. Maybe I will eventually meet more interesting people. Maybe even outside of college. Maybe in some weird short film activity thing. I don't know. But I will really go and try my best. Because trying to find interesting people in Los Angeles is like trying to find diamond in a haystack, really. Because everyone here are walking wallpaper. Oh, also, before I end off, Cindy's leaving tomorrow noon, and I gave her my blue luggage. And she'll be leaving for 2 weeks. She'll be going to Europe. She'll be going to Paris, Italy, and fucking Netherlands. And yay, 2 weeks of nice sleep. But in the meantime, on September 1st, probably, I will have a new roommate, so that's that. But, yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna be all alone in this apartment, so, fuck yeah. Yo, what the fuck? What is this? What? I genuinely thought I wouldn't get picked, but honestly, the selection is probably too small that I have to get picked anyways. Yo, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Whoa!